Hi, I'm author Ellie Alexander, and this week I'm excited to share with you some of the tech guys' favorite reads. You may have gotten to know my husband as the tech guy from my live videos. He really is a tech guy. He has stayed true to his tech roots since the very first day I met him. He loves all things Star Wars, Apple, and sci-fi. He is a lover of bikes, kayaks, craft beer, the outdoors, and cold winter camping. We are truly the definition of opposites attract. I am not tech savvy. I literally look at a computer and it breaks. I love all things Jane Austen, anything set in the British countryside, and reality TV, something that makes the tech guy cringe. Our reading tastes are not surprisingly quite different. I say bring on the rom-coms, anything set in a bookshop, historical fiction, and sweet murder. The tech guy says the darker the better. Blood and guts are no problem. Set it in space, give the characters lasers and blasters, monsters, yep, aliens, of course. The interesting thing is that, believe it or not, even with our seemingly polar opposite taste in reading, we often overlap in books. The tech guy has introduced me to a number of his favorites that have quickly become my favorites too. So without further ado, here are some of the tech guy's favorites from his stack. First and foremost, we have Devolution by Max Brooks. I absolutely devoured this book. First of all, it's set in Seattle, and I grew up in the very southwestern corner of Washington State in Vancouver, Washington. One of my most cemented childhood memories is of Mount St. Helens erupting. And in Devolution, Mount Rainier, the big volcano outside of Seattle, erupts. And I have to say that I have had a recurring dream since childhood that Mount Rainier erupts. So I was already hooked at that point. But this book absolutely sucks you in. It's set in the forest outside of Seattle, and when the volcano erupts, bad things go down, not surprisingly. There's this very high-tech community, hence why it's a tech guy favorite, that gets cut off from the rest of the world. And then there may or may not be some Bigfoot involved. I'm gonna leave it at that, but I devoured this book and I highly, highly, highly recommend it. The second book in the tech guys stack is Ready Player 2 by Ernest Cline. I have not read this yet, but the tech guy and our kiddo read this and adored it as much as they loved Ready Player 1. I have to give you a full confession here. I have not read Ready Player 1 because we saw the movie. The tech guy and our kiddo had already read the book, and so they were like, you have to come to the movie with us. I absolutely was completely captivated by the movie. So now I have to go back and read book 1 and book 2 because, as I'm sure we can all agree, the book is always better. Is that right? Am I right on that? Agree? Disagree? Okay, book number 3 in the tech guy's favorite read stack is Amped by Daniel Wilson. I read the first book by Daniel Wilson called Robopocalypse that I talked about a while ago. It was phenomenal. So I have not read this yet, but the tech guy has, and he tells me it's just as good. In this version of robots taking over the world, humans are slightly amplified. And so that, of course, puts them at war with the building technology, which I have to say, the tech guy has a penchant for anything robotic and is a firm believer that at some point in time, robots are most definitely going to take over the world, which I gotta say, I'm starting to believe him on this. Book number 4 on the tech guy's favorite read stack is Red Mars by Kim Stanley. I don't know about you, but I am completely captivated by Mars these days with the new rover landing, with anything involving the red planet. And this is a book that launched a trilogy. So not only is there one book to get me started, but there are more to come, which is always exciting for someone who writes a series. I love reading series as well. And this book is touted as perhaps the best in its kind of covering, fictionally of course, the colonization of Mars. But the colonization of Mars is quickly not becoming science fiction. I really firmly believe that perhaps even in my lifetime, we're going to see people on the red planet. So this for me is just a teaser of what's to come. Okay, last but certainly not least on the tech guy's favorite read stack is anything, and I do mean, I do mean anything by James Rollins, because I was just talking about series writing with Red Mars. The tech guy has a deep, deep love for anything that James Rollins writes. I gotta see if I can hold the whole stack up. This is just a tiny little glimpse into his collection of Mr. Rollins books. He loves anything and everything written by James, and there are probably another, I don't even know, dozen books, hardcovers as well, on our bookshelves. As someone who writes mysteries, I so appreciate the fact that my husband has a favorite writer, and for him, anytime James Rollins has a new book out, it's an automatic call the bookstore, I must get a copy of it stat. But you can also tell by these spines that they have been well loved. James gets a lot of reading time in our house, and that is not a bad thing in my opinion. Okay, so those are some of the reads in the tech guy's favorite stack. I would love to hear if you have read any of these or if you have other suggestions now that you have a tiny glimpse into his reading tendencies, which I have also adopted. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell to get notified whenever I share new videos and favorite reads. On that note, happy reading!